Hey, welcome to NibblenFlix, the podcast where snacks meet cinema, and we chew on everything from buttery popcorn to box office buzz. I'm your host, Jeff Reed. Hit the like button so we can get more eyes on this video. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also get a notification as well. Hit that bell. Let us know in the comment section. What is your favorite snack you like or nibble you like to eat at the movie theaters? And in this video, we're going to be munching on the movie Freakier Friday. Nisha Gabatra directs the film, and starring in this movie is Jamie Lee Curtis as Tess, Lindsay Lohan as Anna, Julia Butter as Anna's daughter Harper, Manny Jacinto as Anna's love interest Eric, and Sophia Hemmings as Lily, Erica's daughter and soon-to-be Harper's stepsister. 22 years after Tess and Anna endure an identity crisis, Anna now has a daughter and soon-to-be stepdaughter. As they navigate the challenges that comes with two families that merges, Tess and Anna discover that lightning might strike again. Anna meets Eric and father Lily when their daughters get in trouble at school, but they fall in love and plan to get married, while Harper and Lily hate each other and will do anything to stop this marriage from happening. So I wasn't a big fan of the Freakier Friday original film, and it was not really my cup of tea, but I did like some elements of the film though. And when I saw the trailers that were coming out for this film, for the sequel, I was kind of like concerned because I saw what they were trying to do, and it kind of seemed like they were going to have, more characters this time, switching bodies, and I was like, is that going to be confusing? Will it have enough to show like the heart, the humor, and somewhat of a storyline as they did in the original? And I just wanted to know if they can just pull it off. This is something that is kind of like a cult classic. It's a legacy film, and a lot of people are going to be really interested in this film. But the thing is, will it still meet the expectations of the previous film? Well, let's talk about it. So the best thing about this film is Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. They recapture everything that you were hoping for, like in the original film. And I have to say, at this point, like, if you ever watched my channel before, I mentioned this before, but I just like, hey, Jamie Lee Curtis is just such an underrated actor, and she's just one of the best in the industry. And it really doesn't matter what film she is in or what character she's playing, she always knock it out of the park. And also, I gotta say, Lindsay Lohan also did an amazing job as well, too. And I like to see her get more roles after this one. I think she did an amazing job as well. And they really captured being these two teenage girls once the switch happened. And you actually believe that they really are the two girls. Like, their comedic timing was there. The way they were playing off each other, because the girls don't like each other, was actually fun to watch as well. And I just think that these two actors just brought everything that they can bring into this, and you see how much they love this franchise, and you see it interacting. And like I said before, the way they play off each other is just very, very, very fun. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, the stuff that she was doing in this film is absolutely hilarious. Playing this teenage girl, basically taking the place of Sophia Hemmings character, Lily. And I just felt like the thing she was doing in this movie was absolutely fantastic. And like I said, she's like a chameleon at this point. Like, you put her anywhere in any movie and she'll shine. And like I said before, these two are basically why you come see a movie. They were the heart of the film. They carried this film a lot. And there are reasons why people want to see this movie. This is why these two characters alone makes it enjoyable for anyone who's a fan of this franchise to go watch this movie and have a good time. So Julia Butters and Sophia Hammond plays a very good job as Tess and Anna. There's certain parts of this film that you actually felt they were their counterparts, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. And then at first I thought, man, I'm gonna hate these characters. They're gonna play the stupid, annoying teenagers, which they are. But the movie does a great job doing the switch very early in the film, so you don't get to the point where you start hating these characters until when they become, the switch, and Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan start taking over those characters. You don't hate them. So I thought that was very smart on them. And there's, like I said before, I felt they did a great job. And there was times where they actually felt like they were playing adults in this film, and they were meeting like almost the level of Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. And that was why the acting in this film with those 4 co-leads was very good in this film. And I think that was basically why this movie could be enjoyable for people, because they actually met the expectations, which is hard when you're young actors. And I'm really interested to see what these 2 actors do in the future when it comes to other projects. I felt like they were able to actually get up to the level where Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan was at, and that's all you can want. You want, if you're gonna have 2 groups of people, the young ones and the old ones, you want them to be kind of level off so they can actually make the movie feel better and doesn't feel like there's a high performance than the other. And I felt like they were able to keep most of the structure of the original film in this one, adding new elements into it. Some work, some don't work, but it's definitely not a complete copy and paste from Freaky Friday. And this movie has a lot of heart, and I could say one thing that they did a very good job, and it was my main concern about this film, is how they were going to have these characters have their moments. Are they going to be well developed? They are. They get the opportunity to shine, and they are very developed well. So when you understand, how these people feel at a certain time, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about the whole entire situation, what's going on, and also add more comedic elements to it, and also have the characters see what other people are feeling as well. And I thought that was a very good job that the director did. And I was kind of worried about that. It was going to be too messy, but they actually found a way to do it. And it doesn't feel like any character was left behind. And that was probably going to be one of the strongest parts of this film, is that they allowed these characters to be actually developed. So the comedy of this film, when it is involved, the story, it works very well. It's very entertaining. And I can see people liking those moments. And man, there was times in this movie where I just was laughing out loud, especially some scenes with Jamie Lee Curtis. Like I said before, she's a chameleon. She's just a complete rock star. And some of those scenes, when it involve the storyline, those scenes do get silly sometimes, but they are entertaining because they're pushing along the story. But when it's not, and we're about to go into the bad, it's some part of the comedy that did not work. So let's go into the bad. So there's parts in the middle of the film that just feels absolutely clunky, and it felt like they were running out of ideas. So they started putting characters in silly, funny scenarios. And the issue was with that is, rather than working with the story using comedy to push the story along, they actually lose focus of the story to actually do these silly scenarios with the characters. And I felt like if they would have used the comedy to push along the story like they were doing in some parts of the film would have felt and flowed actually a lot better, rather than just trying to fill up time to meet whatever runtime they were trying to get to. And it was parts of this movie where I was thinking to myself and watching this, and I'm like, man, this stuff is funny, but why are we losing focus on the story? The story already has some comedic parts to it already. Let's just use that element into it to push the story along. And I was like, come on, let's get back on track, because what you're really doing is actually fun, and actually enjoying it. But when they do this, and it's, like I said, it's like the middle of the film, it just loses some of the steam that the movie had. And I felt like it lost the kind of luster when it comes to having a great story, right? Or not literally a great story, but interesting story, but having comedy there to actually push the story along and keep these interesting and keep these characters fun and developing to a way you can actually enjoy the entire film. So this movie feels very predictable, and I feel like maybe the writer or the director could have done a little bit better job of trying to make us feel like the outcome that was going to happen in this film don't happen. And there's times where you think in this film that, hey, maybe the kids will get what they want, not seeing these parents get hitched up, but it wasn't really compelling enough to where they made you feel that this was possible. You always felt like what was going to happen in the film was going to happen. And I can see some people who, not really into this film, like, oh man, you make me sit watch this movie and I already know the ending. Yeah, that's what these type of movies are. And I can see that being a negative for some people. This movie, for some reason, having 4 people that switch bodies doesn't have somebody that actually says out loud or even mentions it, that, hey, you're not really acting yourself. What's going on? At least the original film did that. It lets you know, hey, you're not really acting right. What's going on? That was with Anna's character with her friends, especially with her friends. They kind of gonna know how you're really acting. Now, given this movie it was a different situation. However, I felt like 4 people walking around and all these other characters in this movie, no one really calls them out and says, hey, you're acting kind of weird. Why are you not acting like yourself? And I felt like that was like a big thing that they could have missed. Just to see one of these characters trying to trick that person and say, hey, no, it's really me. I'm me. See, ha, me. They don't even do that in this film. And I thought that's something they missed out. And that could have been part of the storyline, is pushing the comedy to make the story better. But I feel like that was one thing they actually missed. And who knows, maybe they did it. Maybe it just didn't make it on the cutting room floor. It didn't get in the movie. But however, I just felt like that was something that was like, okay, you got 4 characters here and no one's really saying that, hey, you're acting kind of weird. What's going on? I don't know. Maybe just me. I know, Jeff, don't bring common sense into a movie, but even like in a magical, imaginary world, someone would have said something about, hey, you're not acting like yourself. The final verdict of this film. So I would have scored this film 3 out of 4 snacks. You know, I love all the scenes with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. I thought they were amazing, you know, bringing that, you know, just basically recapturing what they did from Freakier Friday, bringing that into this. And they show, you know, outstanding performance from them playing these 2 teenagers. And I just love the chemistry. I love everything they were doing when it comes to comedy and everything they did in this film. Same thing with Julia Butters and Sophia Hammond. I thought they did a great job as well. Actually playing their counterparts, you know, Tess and Anna, and they actually felt, you know, make you think they're actually playing adults here and actually playing their counterparts. I thought they did a great job of trying to stay at the same level as Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. However, what hurts this film is when it goes off track. Like I said, the middle of the film is very clunky. The story slows down. They start adding like silly scenarios and elements to the film where it doesn't really push the story along. And I felt like they missed opportunity by using that comedy to try to push along the story, rather than just having basically unnecessary filler to make you laugh. And I felt like, you know, that was kind of miss of this film. I think the film is cute, and I think people who actually love the original film are going to like this film no matter what. And I think they got a reason to. There's elements of this that's very fun. And like I said, the first film wasn't perfect either. I think the critic score was higher than the audience score. I think it was actually a very low score. I think like a mid-50s, something like that for audience score. However, I know people like this film throughout the years, and it does give you those vibes. And that's where, if you're looking for that, you definitely get it. Just from my perspective, because it's not my cup of tea, the story just falls because they try to, you know, like I said, they lose focus on the story and they try to bring in, you know, filler with comedy. I thought that was a misstep of the film. However, I still was entertained with this film. It was very good. It's not bad, and it's not really, really good. It's meh, but it's a meh that was entertaining you. And there's moments that you don't like, and there's parts that you're going to be like, oh man, what are you doing? But that's just, you know, how it is when these type of films. You're basically knowing what you get, and you actually get it in this film. But have you watched this film yet? If not, are you going to see it? And if you have seen the film, do you agree with what I said or disagree? Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. And, you know, in addition, let me know what's your favorite snack you like to eat at the movie theater, so we can start a conversation with that too. Maybe you see something that you never tried at the movie theaters before, and you try that next time you go see a movie. But yeah, let's say, you know, thank you for watching us in this video, and all I would say is, you know, keep watching, keep munching, and keep it real. And I'll see you next video. Take care and goodbye. And I hope you had a great day.